Imagine being born into a world where winter was not a season, but a monster. A world where the wind could cut through skin, where rivers froze like stone, where food vanished beneath snow, and where darkness arrived early, long before the human body was ready for sleep. There were no houses waiting with warm walls, no medicine, no metal knives, no supermarkets, no blankets woven by machines. Only fire, stone, bone, animal skin, and the people standing beside you. During the Ice Age, ancient humans faced a planet that seemed almost designed to erase them. Yet, they did not disappear. They learned to read frozen landscapes like maps. They built shelters from the bones of giants. They turned animal hides into armor against the cold. They cracked open bones for hidden fat, followed herds across dangerous plains, and transformed cooperation into the greatest survival weapon on Earth. This is not just the story of people surviving winter. It is the story of how human intelligence defeated one of the harshest worlds our ancestors ever knew. To understand how extreme their survival truly was, we must first imagine the Ice Age not as a single frozen moment, but as a long, unstable world of shifting climates. Glaciers expanded. Sea levels fell. Grasslands stretched across places that are forests or cities today. In some regions, the cold was brutal and dry. In others, survival depended on moving at exactly the right time, before herds vanished, before rivers froze, before hunger became stronger than hope. Ancient humans did not have the bodies of cold-adapted animals. They had no thick fur like mammoths, no claws like cave lions, no natural speed like horses, no powerful jaws like wolves. Physically, they looked fragile beside the beasts around them. But they carried something more dangerous than claws. They carried memory, imagination, language, planning, and the ability to turn the dead body of an animal into a complete survival system. One of the strangest and most powerful examples of this was the mammoth bone dwelling. In frozen landscapes where trees were rare, wood could not always be trusted as a building material. So, Ice Age humans looked at the remains of enormous animals and saw something no other creature could see. They saw walls, they saw frames, they saw shelter. A mammoth was not only food. Its bones could become architecture. Its tusks could become supports. Its hide could become a roof. Its fat could feed a fire. Its meat could feed a group. Its sinews could become thread. Its very body could be transformed into a fortress against the cold. This was survival at its most astonishing. Humans standing in a frozen world, surrounded by the bones of giants, building homes from the creatures that once ruled the plains. But shelter alone was never enough. A wall could block the wind, but it could not stop hunger. A roof could keep out snow, but it could not warm a body from the inside. In the Ice Age, survival depended on mastering the one thing every cold world tries to steal first: energy. For ancient humans, food was not simply food. It was heat. It was movement. It was strength for the next hunt, patience for the next storm, and life for children whose bodies could not endure long hunger. In a freezing world, the most valuable prize was not always meat, but fat. Fat burned inside the body like hidden fire. That is why bones mattered so much. To modernize, an old bone may look empty, useless, already stripped of value. But to Ice Age humans, a bone was a sealed container. Inside, it waited marrow, rich with precious fat, protected by hard walls of calcium. Long after fresh meat had been eaten, dried, frozen, or spoiled, marrow could still offer energy when the landscape gave nothing else. Picture a small group gathered near a fire. Outside, snow moves across the ground like smoke. The hunters have returned with pieces of an animal too valuable to waste. The meat is divided. The hide is stretched. The sinews are saved, but the bones are kept carefully, not thrown away. Later, when hunger returns, someone lifts a stone hammer and cracks them open. Inside is the hidden food that may carry the group through another night. This was not desperation, it was intelligence. Ice Age humans learned to see survival where other animals saw remains. A wolf might tear flesh and move on. A human could break the bone, scrape the marrow, shape the splinters into tools, and remember exactly which parts were worth saving. Clothing was another miracle of survival. The human body was dangerously exposed in cold environments. Skin loses heat quickly. Fingers stiffen. Feet become weak. A hunter who cannot grip a spear or walk through snow is already close to death. So ancient humans did something extraordinary. They turned animals into protection. A hide thrown over the shoulders might help for a moment, but real Ice Age clothing required skill. Skins had to be cleaned, softened, cut, pierced, fitted, and stitched. Bone needles became tiny instruments of survival. Sinew became thread. Fur became insulation. Boots protected feet. Hoods protected heads. Layers trapped warmth close to the body. In that world, sewing was not a simple household skill. It was life technology. A well-made garment could mean the difference between reaching the herd and freezing before sunrise. Fire was the center of everything. It was warmth, light, safety, cooking, memory, and courage gathered in one glowing place. Without fire, the Ice Age night would have belonged completely to predators and cold. With fire, humans created a small circle where the rules of the frozen world changed. Around the flames, meat became safer to eat. Wet hides could dry, tools could be repaired, children could sleep, elders could speak, stories could travel from one generation to the next. Fire did more than heat the body. It protected the mind from the terror of endless darkness. But keeping fire alive was not easy. In open landscapes, fuel could be scarce. Forests did not cover every region. Some groups had to use whatever the land gave them, from dry wood to animal fat, and perhaps even burned bone in certain conditions. A fire was not something to treat carelessly. It had to be fed, guarded, transported, and rebuilt. Losing fire during deep cold could turn one bad night into disaster. That is why Ice Age people became masters of preparation. They were not simply reacting to danger, they were planning against it. A successful hunt was not only a victory of strength, it was a race against time. A huge animal could feed many people, but only if its body was processed quickly and intelligently. Meat had to be cut, fat had to be saved, hides had to be removed, bones had to be kept, tendons had to be dried for thread, antlers and bone could become tools. Nothing could be wasted, because winter wasted nothing either. Some ancient groups may have used cold itself as a tool. In freezing climates, meat could be stored in snow, kept in shaded places, or placed in cold water to slow decay. What nature used as a weapon, humans learned to turn into storage. The same cold that threatened their bodies could help preserve their food. This is one of the most powerful truths about Ice Age survival. Ancient humans did not defeat nature by escaping it. They survived by understanding it. They watched how animals moved before storms. They remembered which valleys held shelter. They followed rivers, coastlines, and herds. They knew when to move and when to stay. Their world was dangerous, but it was not random to them. Every footprint, every wind direction, every broken branch, every migration path carried meaning. The landscape was their book, and survival depended on reading it correctly. Yet the greatest survival method of all was not a tool, a shelter, or a weapon. It was the group itself. In the Ice Age, loneliness was dangerous. A single person could not easily hunt large animals, protect children, keep watch at night, gather fuel, repair clothing, prepare food, and remember every safe route across the land. Survival required many hands, many eyes, and many memories. A child survived because adults shared warmth, food, and protection. A hunter survived because others helped track, trap, carry, cut, and preserve the animal. An elder survived because the group understood that old knowledge could be more valuable than young strength. Someone who remembered where herds crossed a valley, where water still flowed under ice, or which cave remained dry during storms, could save everyone. This is where ancient humanity became something more than another animal struggling in the cold. Wolves hunted in packs, but humans created culture. They taught, they planned, they warned. They imagined tomorrow before tomorrow arrived. Around the fire, survival knowledge became stories. A dangerous pass, a failed hunt, a clever trap, a bitter winter. a child lost in a storm, a valley rich with animals. These memories did not vanish when one day ended. They became lessons. Even art may have played a role in this deeper survival. Cave paintings, ornaments, symbols, and rituals were not useless luxuries in a frozen world. They helped bind people together. They gave meaning to fear. They reminded the group that they belonged to something larger than hunger. In a world where nature could feel endless and merciless, belief, memory, and shared identity may have given people the strength to continue. The craziest thing about Ice Age humans is not that they survived by fighting the cold directly. It is that they transformed everything around them. Bone became needle, hide became clothing, fire became protection, fat became stored energy, caves became homes, animal trails became maps. The dead body of a mammoth became food, shelter, fuel, tools, and memory. They were not the strongest creatures of their world. They were not the fastest. They did not have fur thick enough for the cold or teeth sharp enough to rule the plains. But they had something more powerful. They had imagination under pressure. And that may be the most human story ever told. In the coldest chapters of our past, when the planet seemed ready to erase us, our ancestors answered with fire, cooperation, and invention. The Ice Age did not destroy them. It forced them to become more human.